Student Council is proud to continue the tradition of the annual canned food drive in support of our local Salvation Army. We will begin collecting cans on November 3rd and will continue until November 24th. We will be announcing more information about this exciting service opportunity next week. Today we have a very special guest with us that will help us to start thinking about how we can help each other in Marietta. Captain Chris Powell was born in Conyers, Georgia. He has served in the United States Navy submarine force for 10 years. Since that time, he has worked as a plumber, a mapper for the tax assessor's office, a department head for the sheriff's department, as well as a volunteer for the fire and emergency management department. Captain Powell and his wife Billy are the proud parents of 2 children. Captain Powell and his wife completed their training at the Salvation Army for Officers Training in Atlanta, Georgia in 2006. They are both commissioned as lieutenants and ordained as ministers of the gospel. Captain Powell and his wife came to the Cobb County Salvation Army office from LaGrange, Georgia in June 2014. We are happy to have Captain Powell here to tell us how the Walker Schools Canned Food Drive is essential in the Cobb County community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Captain Chris Powell.
Thank you, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me here. Is that better? All right. I thank you for having me here to speak a few minutes about how the canned food drive helps when we're dealing with the social services and a lot of the things we do here for Salvation Army in Cobb County. Me and my wife have only, as you heard, only been here for a few months. We got here in June. They moved Salvation Army officers around about every 3 to 5 years. We spent 6 years in LaGrange, which is Troup County. The canned food that you collect helps support a food pantry that we operate out of our offices on Waterman Street, which is up near the downtown Marietta area. A lot of people don't necessarily, as funny as it sounds, don't necessarily know where that office is. That's also where our church is and our community center. We service a lot of people that otherwise wouldn't have food at times. Everything from homeless people, which we have quite a number in this county, to families that have one parent that are struggling to make ends meet, even when they're working. A lot of people don't realize that there are children that go to school every day. I tell my son, who still lives at home, our daughter she is a junior at Georgia Southern. I tell him every day that he's blessed. He has food. He has food on the table when he comes home. He has food when he gets up in the morning. There are a lot of students, there are a lot of children that if they're not at school, they don't eat. Even in Cobb County, even in the day that we live in now. Some of these children, especially when you get into summertime, if they're not at school, they don't eat. We provide services that don't discriminate on what color you are, what race you are, what age you are. The food that you collect here is used to support that pantry along with other food that we collect from other different areas. We do supplement that with food from the Atlanta Food Bank that we purchase by the pound. That comes from funds when people raise money to help support our food pantry here in Cobb County. Whether you believe it or not, the food is used quite extensively. Right now we are fairly low, but we're getting to a point in time where a lot of our food drives come in, a lot of our donated food is raised during this time of year. We also provide food boxes with some of this food that you provide for people to have a meal at Thanksgiving with their family, a meal at Christmas. A lot of us have food all over the table during those 2 time frames and don't really think about the fact that there are people that don't even have a sandwich. So what you do is very helpful not only to us, but it's very beneficial to these people that food is going to. I'll put it out there that any time that any of you or your parents want to come and see what we do at Salvation Army, I tell you, please come. We'll be more than happy to show you what we do over there. We, between our social services, between our after-school programs, our day camp in the summertime, we try to take care of as many people as we can here in Cobb, but we're only one entity. There are quite a few others that come alongside us and do the same thing, but without what you do, it'd make it very hard for us. I was very honored to be asked to come and speak to you this morning about it. One of the highlights of my year every year in Troup County for the last 6 years, and I watched these kids grow up when I was in elementary school there. Every year they had a Thanksgiving assembly right before Thanksgiving break. And those kids brought in canned food, box goods, all kinds of things. Last year they were able to we didn't fill a pod there, we filled 55-gallon plastic drums. Last year those kids filled 8.5 barrels. That's a lot of food when you're talking about first through fifth graders. The interesting thing was, having been there 6 years, these were kids I saw the first year I went there and spoke as kindergartners. And when I got to speak this past Christmas, they were fifth graders. So it's interesting to see the heart that you put into helping those that are in need. Because sometimes those that help, and I've seen this because of our economy, because of what's occurred over the last few years, I've seen people that helped us that are now coming to see us for help. Either their parents have lost jobs or they've had other things occur in their lives. And it makes my heart grow when I see people, especially young people, willing to help others that are the same age and adults. Is there any questions anyone has for me? I mean, I don't have to sit here and just continue to talk, because you do this because you want to. And that right there in itself is the key beginning to helping. It's a key beginning to seeing what you can do to change the world you live in. It really is. Anybody got a question about anything? Yes, sir.
Every time we do the food drive, I wonder if it's better to provide something in cans or a box, or to get something like dried rice, dried beans, where you get a lot for a very small amount of money.
To be truthful, all of it works. What we try to do in the food pantry is we take the canned goods, we take the box goods, we take dried beans, dried rice. What we try to do is when we put together a box of food to hand someone, we try to hand them stuff that can be put together as a meal, that will cover their carbs, that will cover their meats. Usually we don't ask. I mean, it's great when we get canned meat. We don't get a lot of it. But if you have canned meats, you don't realize, a protein and a carb and things like that that help sustain a person are very beneficial. So all those things are great, because what we try to do is put them together so that they have more than one or two meals within that box that they can spread out, they can use, and they can feed their families. So that's a great question, yes. All of that is beneficial. Yes, ma'am?
Is it difficult when you have vegetarians?
Sometimes, yes. That's when you can take, basically we try to do what we can, but that's when you can take your canned vegetables. You find the things that they can eat. We do partner with, believe it or not, we do partner with Target through the Atlanta Food Bank, so we get fresh vegetables, we get other different things that we can give out, bread. What did we get the other day? They sent us a bunch of bread and fruits and vegetables and things. They also sent some cookies, a couple of trays of cookies, which we in turn actually took the cookies, put them in the after-school program for those young people. As part of their snacks we provide in the after-school program. So we we not only are doing things through the social services arena, but we're also doing it with the kids that we're supporting in our after-school program. The other thing, and I will say this, the other thing that just got completed, and we will start, we're going to do some things right now, but in the spring, and you're welcome to come by and see this, we just had a gentleman behind our building put in a garden as part of his part of his project to become an Eagle Scout. And in the spring, our intentions are to plant that and involve our homeless people, involve our after-school kids, letting them see how plants grow, letting them see how vegetables come about, and be a part of that. And I'm also trying to reach out to Kennesaw State up here. I've got a contact up there that I've met, and see if she would be willing to come and talk to them about nutrition and maybe show us how to prepare some meals and stuff, because her students also do community service as part of their classroom instruction at Kennesaw State. Anybody else? Everybody else is fairly quiet. I want to thank you this morning for letting me come. Me and my wife are blessed to be a part of Cobb County, and we hope to continue to grow the services the Salvation Army provides, as well as reach those that wouldn't otherwise have food, wouldn't otherwise have lights on in their house, wouldn't have a house over a roof over their head. There are a lot of things that we do, a lot of things that people don't see. Most of what most people see is you hear about the food drive and you see the ringing of the bells at Christmas time. But there's a whole lot more that's involved in what we do on a daily basis. I thank you very much for letting me speak to you this morning. Y'all have a great day.